In iRacing, each Rookie Oval season runs on 4 tracks. Those 4 tracks are repeated 3 times over a 12-week season. This is Charlotte Oval, which you will currently be running in weeks 1, 5 and 9. So, here's a very basic guide on how to do that and not die. This is suitable for absolutely anyone, no matter your skill level, as long as you've done the iRacing rookie onboarding and been in one race to figure a few things out. So let's get out on track and up to speed. So as we head out around the apron, heading around to rejoin the track on the back stretch, the first thing you'll notice is that this is extremely bumpy. So Charlotte, 1.5 miles long. For a faster car, a cup car or an ARCA car, or God forbid the Indy car, it is very much a track when you will be on and off the throttle and on and off the brake round here. We're in the heavy slow street stocks, and for them it is a pure draft track. We will be running this entire race full throttle. There'll be cars all around us no matter where we are. There'll be no margin for error, and there'll be no way to avoid it. The draft is worth 0.4 of a second per lap. If you don't have it, there is no way you can keep up. Quite narrow, known as a one-groove track in the jargon. That means there is one way around that is fastest, all else being equal, and that one way that's fastest is the inside line that we're going to run right now. So, beginning the lap, get over to the inside, hook your wheels down. You'll feel the wheel turning as you come in. Big slide, big save. Let's try that again. Here we go, that's better. I like that a lot better. And once you're in there, it's a real dance. You'll feel one moment the car wants to go down too low and bounce itself up off the apron, and another moment it wants to pull back and wash you out to the outside. You've got to be constantly modulating your steering input. Ooh, right there. That felt sweet. We've washed right up the track there, and we'll see in a couple of minutes what it looks like from behind when you do that and how dangerous it is. The key thing to remember when you're running with other drivers around you is hold this inside line. This is particularly important when you come out of a turn like this. We're going to keep it firmly on the inside. We mustn't allow ourselves to drift to the outside until the very last moment. And again, coming up with some clips of what other drivers will do if you show them the inside by drifting wide. The front stretch as well, we mustn't overlook this. We're looking to turn the wheel as little as possible, but we're also looking to just keep it on the inside and give the other drivers behind us no temptation at all as we wash slightly wide again. We're looking to give them no temptation at all to stick their noses up our inside and cause some kind of horrible shunt. So, the inside line is the fastest way, but there will be times when you need to run the outside. So let's move to the outside and give that a go. It feels very similar to the inside. It is very slightly faster in terms of miles or kilometers per hour. It can also sometimes be very slightly more stable. However, because you drive further, you are losing time if you run this line. The only time I would want to be on the outside is if I'm forced there, if I seriously trust the driver in front of me, and that's very rare, or it's the last lap and I'm not going to settle for P2, I'm going to throw caution to the wind and go for that win. Again, front stretch. Now we're running the outside, we make sure we keep it nice and wide and give anyone coming through on the inside plenty of room. Now you can run about as low as this and the wheel will feel perfectly well behaved. The other car will still have a car or so's space. If you don't leave them that bit of extra space, it's very easy for them to wash up into you. Side-to-side contact can easily put you both out of the race. You drop back now onto the inside for one more go around. Just washing a little bit wide, having to come out with little power, and you can see on my inputs how much speed you lose It won't get you overtaken necessarily, but it will get the other cars around you interested in having a go at you, and that's what we don't want. When we're running in a big pack, it's important to be as calm as possible, give as few opportunities for silliness as possible, and have as much brain power free as possible to look in front of us if we're running behind and dodge the wrecks that will inevitably happen at some point. So, particularly people who are coming over from iRacing road courses might be wondering, if that's all there is to running Charlotte, you just hold the inside, it's the fastest way, you dance around a little bit, you keep the throttle pinned, why need a track guide at all? The reason you need a track guide is because you have to run this in very, very close attendance with other drivers. If you want any hope at all of a good finish, you can't just sit a safe distance behind everyone else and wait for the crash. You'll lose the draft and fall back and have no chance at all. If you want any kind of a finish, you've got to get up close and personal with other drivers. The main difference between oval and road racing is this. In road racing, you are primarily driving against the track. It is how fast you can be round the corners, in the braking zones and on exit that will determine how well you do, and how well you deal with other drivers. It's still important, but it's of secondary importance. Here on an oval, that's absolutely reversed. What's most important is your behaviour under pressure. How you drive the track, still important, otherwise you'll leave opportunities and generally get yourself into trouble, but it's far more important how you cope with other drivers around you causing chaos. That's a big part of why I love oval racing so much. It is so much about driving the other people and not the track. So I've recently done a lot of running here. I did about 12 races in 6 hours. Enjoyed every single one of them. Crashed out of all but one of them. But the reason I was able to enjoy it, and apologies by the way if anyone's watching who was the victim of my learning curve, the reason I really enjoyed it was that every time I crashed, I learned something. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at 5 of those shunts that I was involved with. In each one, I was at fault. In each one, I've made a mistake that's contributed to the wreck. We'll go over them, and we'll go over how to avoid them, and how to hold your nerve, and how to get those good finishes. Now here we are running P6. We've had a decent enough start, bit hairy as you can see, but things seem to be settling down nicely as we come onto lap 2. Everyone's very unsettled as we come round the front stretch. I'm getting bad vibes about this, but I can't see a safe way to move backwards and take myself out of it. Huge wheels banging again. I'm thinking, can I drop back? But there's someone up my backside. If I lift and try to check up, there's a very good chance that he'll just go straight into the back of me. And so as we come round once more, onto turns 1 and 2, onto the apron, number 5 has to check up. We have no reaction time, we have no option. And that's the big one for you. So, as we go to the replay camera, you may be very well thinking, you know what, there was nothing at all he could have done about that. But is that true? No, it's not. Here's what we could have done to avoid getting caught up in that wreck. Qualified better. I do not believe at all in starting from the back or starting from the pit lane. As far as I'm concerned, that's no fun. What we need to do is qualify, and qualify well. The more cars you can put behind you at the start, the fewer cars you will have to try and overtake on a track where overtaking is inherently very chancy, and also the more cars that you can put behind you at the start, the fewer cars who can spin in front of you, have some horrible calamity and ruin your race as well. So, once we were in that position, maybe not a whole lot we could have done, but we could have avoided it by putting a bit more focus into practicing qualifying and getting ourselves higher up. Wreck number 2 now, and we're moving on to things where my driving definitely left a lot to be desired. So this now is going to be our first lesson in patience. 7 laps to go. Number 4 and number 1 still racing very hard as we get extremely close to the rear bumper of number 4, and I'm starting to hear that little voice in my head going, go on, go for it, stick your nose in there, you can get something. As they're slow going side by side, I decide to try and follow number 1 through. My first potentially unwise decision. I come right back onto number 1's bumper, and then I make the really poor decision of trying to take it 3 wide through the front stretch. This was never going to work, and as you can see, number 19 sees a little gap on the inside, sticks his nose into it, and we're both out. So, looking now at the replay from the helicopter camera, what could we have done differently? It's quite clear to see I should just never have tried to follow number 1 through. I should never have tried to make this 3 wide. That contact was always going to happen. And while we can see that number 19 has lost it a bit, me being slow because of the contact put me in a position where 19 was able to tag me. This is a really good example of why this kind of driving is, at the end of the day, low IQ. P1 and P2 carried on and made strong finishes, whereas I was in the wall, feeling miserable about myself. Right, race number 3 now. Once again, what this shows is the danger of the front stretch. We're having a pretty good race, we've got a decent start, still a long way to go. We're up in P5. Unfortunately, we're also in a big pack getting very fighty behind us, as we can see. There is nowhere to go. There is nowhere safe we can be. We just have to take this position and play it as best we can. Watch number 8 and number 4 carefully. Number 8 tries to throw it up the inside. It was never going to work. We're forced to the outside. Number 8 doesn't see us coming. Big slam. Big wreck. I'd just like to encourage you, if you're enjoying this, if you're benefiting from this, leave me a comment. Let me know how this is helping you. Leave a comment. Leave a like. The key thing about engagement on YouTube is that it helps you. The algorithm relies on you telling it what you enjoy to serve you better content. So if you use that like button, you're not just helping me, you're helping yourself as well. We see 8 go up the inside. That was the danger sign. I think we could have gone a lot wider, a lot earlier. And then, yeah, we're pinching number 8 quite a bit. As soon as we saw number 8 take that very unwise dive up the inside, the thing to do would have been to get right on the outside. And you're only comfortable doing that if you've practiced an outside line ahead of time, including the outside line up the front stretch. Okay, race number 4 now. Got a bit of the old root beer to help us on our way. Once again, we've got ourselves up into a really strong position. P3 with 11 laps to go. Number 4 washing wide, coming back down. It looks like there's opportunities. It's so difficult to have the patience to hold it behind him. This is so frustrating about oval racing. We know that the draft is making us faster than number 4, but there is just no way through. Number 4 leaving a gap, tempting us to go on, a bit faster, a bit closer, you can make it, a bit faster, a bit closer, you can make it, and round we go. Yes, of course, it's obvious there's a gap on the inside, but really, boy, what do you think number 4 is going to do when you stick your nose up his inside? Do you think that number 4 is going to leap out the way and suddenly take the outside? No, of course number 4 isn't going to do that. The only thing number 4 is going to do at this point is wash wide and then come back down on our nose. We needed to just lay back a bit and accept that there was no way that this could possibly have ended well. So for the last clip, let's look at a similar situation, but this time one in which we're the leading car and we really bring about our own downfall. Another excellent position, 10 laps to go, holding P1, and holding it together reasonably well. However, watch carefully what I do on the straight. It might seem like I'm running the inside line because I'm in the inside lane of the track, but that's not the case. We get sent round. I'm a little bit salty, but let's look at the replay and see why that happened. So, from the chopper, let's watch that all again. Pay careful attention to the line that I take as I come out of turns 1 and 2. See how I wander to the outside of this inside lane? There is clearly a car's width of gap there. I'm showing number 6. There's a space here. Go on, go on. You can do it. Just stick your nose up there and you can take the lead. As we come onto the back stretch again, watch. He sees me drift wide, and he's going to go for it. He doesn't realise that I'm going to turn back on him and spin us both out. Quite clearly, I gave him the opportunity to make a poor decision. He took it. It would never have happened if I'd just pinned it to that blue line. So there you have it. Preserve yourselves around Charlotte, have better races, have better finishes, and most importantly, have more fun.